So for those who don't know, you are very close friends with Shawn Rhoden.
Yeah.
You're a training partner with Shawn Rhoden.
Well, yeah, we became over the years really close. Yeah. We've been training together for like 3 years, and I've been here in California for 6 years, and just we started training next to each other, so spending time after and before the workout, just chit-chatting and getting closer and closer, and then started training together. So obviously getting a deeper bond, and yeah, it's like my brother now.
What did it mean to you when he won the title 2 years ago?
I felt like I won. I was like so invested. I knew he had it in him, and in 2018 it was just like I don't know, a couple days out. Like his body, once we get in Vegas, people don't realize that. Like everybody was writing him off, like because the year before, he had this conditioning issue, and he slept from 2nd to 5th, and people are like, he's done. He's not gonna do anything. And then when you see his pictures, his body changes so fast. People think, oh, he's way off. He's never gonna be ready. But then the week we're in Vegas, just like every hour, basically in between every meal, his body just gets, more conditioned by almost a minute. It's crazy. And so we were like a day before prejudging, with Chris Aceto and Shawn, just checking him out and seeing how things were going. And we're just like, this is something different. This year is really gonna be special. We could feel it. And obviously he ended up winning that. So
when you saw with the prejudging that day, did you had a feeling that he was gonna win?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I had the feeling before that too. Like the year he got 2nd, I thought we had it. But this year it was just like a deeper, like his conditioning was just on another level. Like he was so like dry. I never seen him like this. So yeah, and then we saw Phil was retaining a little bit of water, and we thought, yeah, we got it. We just got the edge right there. So
after the
but we had to be careful. Sorry, but because usually Phil he's always come back better for finals. So we were like trying to not getting too much over our head. But we just kept, he kept following the Aceto's plan and just bring the best conditioning the next day, same, just even better if anything, not any less good. And Phil, I think, trying to carb up a little more and just, was more watery, and stomach starting pushing a little more, and that just cost him the title.
After Phil Heath lost that year, he went on the record a few times, different interviews, and he said that he felt like he beat Shawn on different poses.
Yeah.
When Shawn heard that, I'm sure he heard that.
Mm-hmm.
How did he feel about that afterwards? Did he feel upset that Phil said that, or?
No, I mean, Shawn is he's been playing this sport for a minute now, and he's like judges decide. All the years before, Phil's never complained about the judging. It was in his favor. And this year he thinks he doesn't deserve it. I mean, obviously his back, Phil's back is untouchable, but all the other poses, I think Shawn won fair and square. He had more poses for him than Phil had, so yeah. And Shawn, he's just like, he doesn't really care. Like the judge decided he won. That's all he needs,
Mm-hmm. So obviously, but now everybody knows that, Shawn's going through something very personal right now with the accusation that's going against him. What can you tell me about the situation as far as how he's taking it from the perspective of, mental state? How is he mentally?
It's really hard. He's trying to hang in there, obviously. I think the hardest thing is, you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. And a lot of people consider him guilty, taking action as if he was guilty. And that's the hardest part, Of course, he can't even compete right now, which is the thing he's invested his whole life in. And he's at his peak, he won the title and is not even allowed to defend it or compete in any way. So that's the hardest part, trying to keep his head down and just do what he's always done, keep working and wait for his time.
And he's still training?
Yeah, he's still training, of course, yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely a hard time.
Mm-hmm. I remember it was last year, as soon as the news broke out of the accusation, the next day, or even the same day, it was announced that he was banned from competing at Olympia. Mm-hmm. How did he feel about that, and how did you feel about that when you heard the news about that he's banned automatically?
Yeah, that was we thought it was really quick. The action was taken within a couple hours. There was the press release from the Olympia And we thought that was just too fast. Like the news just broke out, and they already decided. They were writing him off. We thought it was just a little too fast. It wasn't. They could have taken a couple days. It wouldn't have mattered. Like his show wasn't. It's not like he was stepping on stage the next day. Right. So they could have waited, a week or just see a little more through this whole thing. And myself, I just feel worried about this kind of things because it means if you get any accusation towards yourself, you're not going to be able to do competing in our sport, which is all we invest in. So that's kind of scary.
Shawn, since the news broke, he made a very brief statement a few weeks later, I think. Mm-hmm. Why do you think he's not more vocal? Because I think the perception is if you don't speak out, you automatically assume that you're guilty. You know what I'm saying? Why do you think he's not publicly making more statements? Or giving more?
It's just because the case is open right now, and he's not supposed to talk about anything. He's supposed to stay quiet because if he says anything publicly, the other part can prepare themselves differently. It's just like trial things. I don't even understand all that stuff. Right. So.
Right. No, I totally understand.
But it's that time of things. His lawyer just advised him to just stay quiet, and he's too much of a public figure to be going around and say anything.
Right. So, what kind of time frame do you think he's looking at as far as going through this whole process and coming out of the other end? You know what I mean?
I have no idea. I know, trials and things like that can really take a while, and I know his lawyer is trying to push for the trial to come as soon as possible so they can get out of it and he can start competing. But so far, it's just taking time. So I don't really know much more about that.
As far as there was news that he was supposed to be competing at this year's Arnold Classic.
Me?
No, not him.
Yeah.
And then suddenly he's not competing anymore. Do you know why or what happened there?
I think it's just he talked to the organization of the Arnold Classic and they wanted him to compete. But then they had to go through the IFBB Pro League, and the IFBB Pro League, they decided that it was a bad idea for them to let him compete in the Pro League as long as this thing was going on. In case, he was actually guilty, then it would be a bad look for the Pro League. Which I think, he's a pro athlete anyway, so if he actually was guilty at some point, he would be, they would still link it to, the Pro League, that he's not competing right now or not. He's been competing in there. So I think that's just my opinion, but I believe he should just be able to keep competing until he's proven guilty, which hasn't been proven yet.